President Trump's key national security nominees faced tough questioning from lawmakers during confirmation hearings yesterday. NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has those details.
So do you think that
A pair of President Trump's top national security nominees facing high-stakes confirmation hearings.
There will be no politicization at the FBI.
Former federal prosecutor Kash Patel nominated for FBI director. The staunch Trump supporter pressed by Democrats about his independence.
Would you be willing to resign the post of FBI director if pressed and given no choice but to obey the order or resign?
Senator, I will always obey the law.
And President Trump's pardons of violent offenders from January 6th.
I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
Patel strongly defended by Republicans.
The reason you're here is because most of the public, almost every Republican, believes that the FBI has been used continuously in a political fashion, lying to get Donald Trump.
Across the Capitol, former Democratic Congresswoman and combat veteran Tulsi Gabbard, nominated for Director of National Intelligence.
What truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
Gabbard pushing back on claims she parroted Kremlin talking points.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart.
I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
And pressed over her previous call for a pardon for Edward Snowden, who fled the U.S. after releasing a trove of government secrets.
Is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
I understand how critical our national security
Apparently
is.
you don't.
Thanks to Ryan Nobles for that reporting. And joining us now, former Deputy Press Secretary for the Department of Defense, Sabrina Singh. We also have former Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo of Florida. He's an MSNBC analyst as well. Carlos, I want to start with you. Of course, big day on the Hill for Trump's nominees. We'll start with Kash Patel, because I think there was a really fascinating thread that I saw between Patel that we've seen from most of these other nominees, too. This idea of distancing from the very things that make them controversial picks in the first place. For Patel, it was on January 6th and trying to soften his stance, even breaking, quote unquote, with the president, saying that that violent offenders shouldn't have been pardoned for what they did on January 6th. But I think it's a question of, will people actually believe that just because they got nominated to these posts, they've suddenly changed their tune? What do you think?
Yeah, this is the key, Allie, because all of these controversial nominees, especially the three we've seen this week, their emphasis, their big goal has been to distance themselves from some of the comments that make them controversial. And, of course, especially the Democratic senators are honing in on that. I think Patel, in terms of his temperament and his performance, he did a pretty good job. And I think it was surprising to a lot of people that he would be willing to contradict President Trump on the issue of these January 6 pardons for those who committed violent crimes, assaulted police officers. So he does get some points for temperament, but he still hasn't gotten the guarantees from the Republicans he needs. You know, RFK, I think he had a tougher time. He really got into it with some senators. And Tulsi Gabbard, I think that's the weakest of the three controversial nominees at this point, Allie.
We keep hearing that, Carlos. And Sabrina, here with me in D.C., I think the thing that was so striking and that I keep coming back to during all these hearings is something that Senator Gillibrand said, actually, to Pete Hegseth. She said, you've had these long-held views on women not serving in combat roles. I'm just not sure I believe that you've suddenly changed your tune. And so when you see Kash Patel, who is a flamethrower in the press, on podcasts, in media, suddenly sitting before that committee in a much more, I'll use the word demure, despite the fact that it has the connotation of being viral now, but in a more demure sense, is that the temperament that he's just trying to present? And does he have the temperament in totality to run this kind of an agency?
Look, I think, he presented his case, and like you said, he was more demure than we've seen before. But that's not going to change the fact that he has a long history of promoting these conspiracy theories. I mean, he went up there and denied that he was on some of these podcasts where there was anti-Semitic views being pursued, and that podcaster even said, no, we text all the time. So I think you have to believe, who these people are when what they say. And it's incredibly disturbing, not just Kash Patel, but Tulsi Gabbard as well, being up there saying she couldn't emphatically say that Edward Snowden was a traitor. I think you absolutely have to take them at their word. And if they were to be confirmed, it's even more concerning the type of policies that they would put into place as agency heads.
Well, that's right, because we're, of course, talking in the immediate term about the confirmation battles, Sabrina, but you're not just looking at what they say there. You're trying to extrapolate out what they might do. And Hegseth is actually a blueprint, right?
Absolutely. He got in, he did those confirmations hearings, and we're seeing these policies play out in real time. Just look at the press conference yesterday. Secretary Hegseth doubling down on Donald Trump's assertion that somehow DEI was responsible for the crash that we saw yesterday. It's just, it's absurd. We haven't even been 24 hours out from this investigation still, and we haven't gathered the facts. And that's exactly what these nominees are going to pursue. They have their audience. Their audience is Donald Trump. It's an audience of one. They're going to play to his strengths. You saw Kash Patel, somewhat differentiate himself there yesterday, but I think we know who he is, and he's shown us that multiple times, and that's what we need to take away from these hearings.
Carlos, I want to ask you, when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, you made the point, and again, this is things that I've heard from my sources as well, that she's the weakest link potentially of all of these nominees. So what did you make of the senators questioning her yesterday? Did she do herself any favors?
I think she missed a big opportunity, especially when Senator Lankford, who we know has publicly expressed doubts about her over the last few weeks, he asks her directly, is Mr. Snowden someone who stole, top secret information from the United States, shared it with our adversaries, with our enemies? Is he a traitor? And she could not answer that question. It's really very different from what Kash Patel did, for example, with the January 6th rioters, right? Tulsi Gabbard missed a big opportunity. Again, she also presented very well in terms of temperament, but in terms of substance, she missed an opportunity, I think, to give her that boost she needed with some of those skeptical Republicans that I think at the end of the day are not going to come around to supporting her.
Yeah, I do think Lankford is one that I'm watching closely, especially as I've had conversations with him where he was assuaged by some of the things that she said when it comes to intelligence gathering and surveillance programs in their private meetings. But certainly that was an important line of questioning yesterday. I think, Sabrina, for someone like you who has been in the rooms where officials are making decisions based on sensitive intelligence information, it's important to remind that our allies don't just share information because it's mandatory. They do it because there's a trust factor. So what role would Tulsi Gabbard play? And that's the concern in a deteriorating relationship there.
Well, I think what's concerning is she also might not know the role that she plays and how important that role is. You are the convening authority when it comes to intelligence and pooling information in from different agencies and then briefing the president, members of the National Security Council, and of course the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Information that is collected and parsed through and analyzed by people that have been doing this for a very long time and have that experience. If you can't brief the president on some of the basic issues, or you have an affiliation or a side, for instance, with Russia, and believe that Russia is not the aggressor here when it comes to Ukraine, that is incredibly disturbing, not just to our allies, but I think that should send a real shiver through the intelligence community. And that is what we saw on display yesterday.
I will say, despite the fact that we're having conversations about what makes them controversial or pitfalls in their resume or general qualifications for these roles, I was talking to a senator yesterday and I asked them, do you think that these folks will get confirmed, even despite all of that, even despite Republicans that have concerns? And they said ultimately they believe yes. We'll ultimately see if that's how it shakes out. But Sabrina Singh and Carlos Curbelo, thank you both for joining us on the high stakes of this moment.